Bruce's Big Call Dinar Intel Tuesday night, August 13, 24. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Transcribed by Wiser, now emailed to Recaps Music. Welcome everybody to Big Call. It is Tuesday, August the 13th, and you're listening to the Big Call. Thanks everybody out there in Big Call universe for tuning in. Whether you're local inside the US or whether you're outside the continental US and on international soils, we welcome you and appreciate you, and thank you for coming in and listening. Let's talk now. Thank you, Bob. By the way, thank you, Bob, so much. That was great. Let's talk about the Intel. Let's see where we are now. Guys, I know that my Intel has not been exactly accurate. Because it changes every time you think we're there, you get something else that says we're not. And I'm sorry, because I hate bringing it out Intel this not accurate or doesn't come to pass. So I know this is a moving target. I know that things tend to change, but hopefully, one of these days, we'll get it right and we'll all be exchanging and we'll be happy. So from the latest info that we received last night was that we are in basically a 7-day window, and boy, I hear that. I go, oh my gosh, that's too long a window, too big. I don't want to be in a 7-day window. And this is from CW, and we got it last night that said Wednesday to Wednesday. We should get notified and start exchanging. That's tomorrow, through which when it's tomorrow, 14th to the 21st in that range, we should be getting our numbers and getting exchanges started. Well, today, there was a conference call between some of the paymasters, some of the higher-up people at Wells with the Central Bank of Iraq, the CBI, and this call was supposed to go 2.5 hours. And it went 5.5 hours, so it was long, and they were talking about techniques and exchange protocols for the banks. Now I don't know if it affected redemption centers, is that specifically the banks will let it sit at that. They were referring to our banks here in the US, not banks in Iraq. So what's happened? What's to bring you up to speed? What's happened recently is the currencies, the 19 currencies that were coming up on the screen at redemption centers and at banks were coming up with either partial meeting 6 currencies and then 12 of the 19. We finally got all 19 to come up, but then they were coming up with a slow blinking mode. That's okay. They could make out the currencies, they could make out the rates, but they were blinking slowly, and that was as of yesterday. Now, the weird thing is that even though that was going on, one of the currencies dropped out. So instead of 19, we're seeing 18 currencies on the screens. Anybody guess which currency was no longer on the screen? That's right. Our currency, the USN, the USD had gone away and the USN and replaced it, but the USN was off the screen temporarily. Now, why would that be? Would it be that they're getting ready to introduce the USN, or United States Node, or United States New, however you want to look at it? Then it's referring to the United States Treasury note that is no longer a Federal Reserve note because the Fed is dead and the remnant revenue says absorbed into US Treasury a while back. Same thing's true with the IRS. It was absorbed, the rent of it was absorbed into the US Treasury. So what that is saying is that the USN would need to go back up on the screen and would need to have a rate attached to it. And we believe that once that occurs, that's a pretty good indicator that we're about ready to start. Now, I think that the USN, if I remember right, is part of NESARA. Okay, let's talk about, I know I'm kinda bouncing around here, but stay with me. What else is part of NESARA? That's right, debt forgiveness. Let's talk about that. It actually started Sunday afternoon, Sunday the 11th of August, okay? And so it started with, you guys haven't heard me say this yet, because I got this between the last call and tonight. It started with, or it is starting with zeroing out of all mortgages. Oh, I'm hearing some amens out there. I'm hearing some hallelujahs, because our mortgages are supposed to be zeroed out over a 10-day process that, if my math is right and you count the days out, the 11th, which is Sunday, should be terminated? By around the 20th of this month. We don't know if that means we're going to get our letters by then from our lending institutions. Or the letters will follow this 10-day period, that I don't know yet, probably find out after the call, but there's a 10-day period of debt forgiveness when mortgages will be zeroed out. Now, there may be some stipulations to that might prevent the very newest mortgage, but I don't even know that. I don't even know. Let's just go with mortgages will be zeroed out. That's a big help. Now, what else, as far as debt forgiveness, did I hear somebody say, credit cards? Right, you are Andrew. That starts around the 21st through the 31st, which is the last day of August. That means all credit card debt will be wiped out. That's amazing. And don't everybody go and load up your credit cards right now. Don't even think about it. But that is a real welcome thing. Those two things, that's mortgages and credit cards, will be wiped out and zeroed out by the end of August. Which is August 31st, so that's going to be a real bonus for us. That's a huge part of debt forgiveness for Nasara, kicking in and taking effect. Now, we haven't heard of any debt forgiveness coming out yet. We don't have any evidence of it yet, at this time, but stay tuned. Maybe I will get some of that. We know farm claims started being paid out somewhere around the 8th of August, I believe. And I mentioned on last Thursday's call, so that we had proof of 3 farmers that were paid. The first one was 360,000, not 300,000, but 360,000. The second was 410,000. And the third one we heard was 525,000, and these are farm claims to the farmers. And we understood that the black farmers were paid out first. Okay, so that's what we've heard. And of course, I can't prove that right now, but that's what we've heard happened, which is great news. Now let's go beyond that. I've given you a window. As we come back to the RV, I've given you a window of Wednesday to Wednesday by CW. Now what's interesting about that is we're hearing some things that are putting our day for exchanges to start Monday, the 19th, this coming Monday. Now we've also heard from another call tonight that was with the financial advisors, bankers and so on, that there was a consensus on this call that we would be notified over the weekend. And then start exchanges on Monday. So the 19th is Monday. It is halfway between kind of plus or minus between Wednesday and Wednesday, and it's very possible that that's what we end up with. A few other people were saying we should get notified today and start tomorrow. I had that from a source that was speaking to a US Treasury source in Europe, and that's what they said. That we would get notified today and start exchanges tomorrow, but I don't know that we say that that's the case. I don't think that's happening somehow. That did not occur. So even my own intel is slightly conflicted, but the consensus is looking for us getting notified this weekend and then exchanging on Monday. Let's hope that is true. Let's hope that is exactly what's happening. And you guys have the debt forgiveness portion, which was started Sunday and goes through the end of the month with credit card debts being wiped out. I think those two aspects, mortgages, home mortgages and credit card debt, is a lot. That is an answer to prayer, and that is wonderful to see that taking place. Now, I think our USN is part of Nasara. I don't know if they'll announce it. I'm being told they won't. Bothers me. I would like to have it announced, added asset-backed and or gold-backed currency. Because it is, and we're gonna have our US, TN, United States, trade notes and are in the banks. They're in the redemption centers. We're supposed to get some of it when we go in for our appointments to exchange. So that's been in place for a long time, I'm going to say months, and possibly over a year. Now that money. The new printed currency that we have are holding money that go down our wallets versus is already in place. So that's good. What else is going on? You know, guys, I think that's the majority of it. So let's do this. Think I've loaded you guys up with good intel. I think that's all I need to tell you guys tonight. This thing is right here, right there, where we can go anytime. Yes, and we'll see if the Wednesday window holds up, or if we get surprised, and maybe it goes soon, but really. Wednesdays as soon as we'll get anything right now. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and pray the call out right now. Listen to the full version on the official DinarReport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: Dinar Recaps.